think he was going
Then let's
to
go.
now. So, all
We're
right.
live.
Okay, we are live. Thank you, everybody. Today is the 3rd of March, and this is the Motor Vehicle Subcommittee, part of the Environment and Transportation Committee. We have a series of bills today. I'm going to go a little bit out of order just because I could feel the heat from the chairman of making sure we get some bills out and get the leadership okay. So I thought we'd start out with some of the stuff that I think we could probably kick out pretty quickly and then roll to the ones that take a little bit more time. With that said, I think the first bill I'd like to talk about is HB 231, which is about halfway, 3/4 of the way down the front page of our bills heard today. That is the Montgomery County Automated Traffic Information Agency, MC 1822. We have a letter from the delegation. It came out last year, didn't make it, made it over to the Senate. It's out this year. No one is against the bill.
Move favorable.
Okay. God, who is that wonderful person?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the favorable, any
Wait,
discussion?
hold on.
Wait a minute.
Sarah has a discussion.
I'm sorry. Gaithersburg sent in a letter,
They did.
and so can someone remind me, because I have to read the letter, the bill again. It's optional, so they're fine, right?
Yeah, so I did talk to Patrick and I did have a conversation about it. And Patrick, if you'd like to enlighten us as to what our conclusion was.
Sorry, I'm late.
Our conclusion was that they can either fix it in the Senate or deal with it in the county council, because like Delegate Love said, this is enabling legislation. It's not requiring anything.
Okay, thank you.
So we talked about it earlier when getting that letter. I also did talk with Delegate Crutchfield about it yesterday. And she's like, oh, whatever you think. So we good?
Good.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Can you tell me what bill? I'm sorry, I got here just a couple seconds late.
HB 231. It's a Montgomery County delegation bill.
Oh, okay.
Any quick question on that?
Yes. Did you have some questions on the Montgomery County delegation bill?
Not at all. Not at all.
So will the police still review the tickets before they're issued? It's just administered by a different office?
No, the police will not review the tickets. This takes the whole program out of the hands of the police department. It enables the local jurisdiction, meaning Montgomery County, if they so choose, to move the program out of the hands of the police department into the Montgomery County Department of Transportation.
And this is for speed camera tickets and red light running camera tickets?
Speed tickets, right? I don't think it does red light too, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and
Does them all.
and bus.
Any
Automated.
any
Automated.
Right.
I don't know. When we first started this, the whole idea was that the police would review it and make sure they agreed with it before the ticket was issued.
I thought the only concern, or the only question, excuse me, not the concern, was that is the same person reviewing the same person who signs off? I thought that was the main question that was being asked about this bill. I don't remember.
So again, what I would say is this is enabling legislation. So however the county decides to implement it, Patrick, it's going to be pretty close to the same program, except there won't be a Montgomery County police officer signing off on it. It'll be somebody from the Department of Transportation, from Montgomery County Department of Transportation, which was some concern that was discussed in delegation, and the bill was passed.
Was it unanimous or was it controversial in delegation?
It was a little controversial. You know what? No, it wasn't that controversial last year until after we passed it, that it became controversial here in the committee. But it wasn't controversial this year. I think it was almost unanimous. Delegate Love, do you remember?
I think it was almost unanimous.
Okay.
There might have been.
It looks like it was a voice vote with nobody voting against.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know there were some questions raised about it, and then when it came back, it was voted.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Delegate Love, did you want to add anything? Because I know that went through your sub. Okay. All right, so we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed. I just think it sets a standard that we're going to start following in all the counties, because it is cheaper to have just anybody reviewing it instead of a police officer.
Right. Okay. All right, well, and any abstentions? All right, motion carries, bill passes. Number 2 is Delegate Corman's HB 368 Vehicle Loss Penalty Lapse Security Transfer Certificate. Patrick, do you want to review this, please?
Yeah, hold on. Okay, there's a reprint of this bill out there. This has the amendment that MVA and Delegate Corman discussed. There is one addition that needs to be made to that, just to add for circumstances in which you trade into a dealer and the dealer doesn't get the plates in right away.
Extends that time, right?
Right. This extends the informal grace period of 5 days for an insurance fine to a formal legal 10 days.
Move favorable
I mean, you have the amendments.
on the amendments.
Is there a second?
Second the amendment.
Okay, any discussion? That's it on the amendment? Just that to 10 days? Is there anything else? Was there anything else in the amendment, Patrick?
Well, it added the situations where I mentioned the dealer trading part.
Right.
When a certificate for a title for a vehicle has been transferred to a new owner, that was the bill. Registered owner has moved out of state and the registration plates are returned by mail, and a salvage certificate has been issued for the vehicle.
So it increases all those to 10
Has
days?
taken ownership. Or
Okay. Any other questions on the amendments?
Move the bill as amended.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye on the amendments.
Aye.
Any abstentions? I'm sorry, any negatives? No, any abstentions? Okay, on the bill as amended.
Move the bill as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the bill as amended? Nope. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries, bill passes. Okay, number 3 is Delegate Wells's bill, HB 434. We did pass this bill last year. It is slightly different, but the only thing I think we're waiting on this bill for is a letter from Baltimore City, which we should hopefully have either later this afternoon or tomorrow.
We don't, I'm sorry, you don't have it?
No, we don't have it. I
Okay.
talked with Delegate Wells earlier, and I think that Patrick and Delegate Wells have already talked with Baltimore City. It's in drafting for Baltimore City, so we should have it very shortly. But that's really the only thing, Delegate Boyce, that's holding up this bill that I'm aware of.
So is it appropriate to still move the bill, but hold it until we are firmly get the letter? Because it was certainly unanimous in delegation.
now,
Yeah, I
Delegate Boyce, in delegation, did you vote on it recently, like in the last day?
No, like a week or so ago? Like
No, I
weeks
think
ago.
the delegation told us that they haven't had a vote on this. You might be thinking of last year's, planning to vote on it
Oh,
tomorrow.
so she said she's hadn't, not that she hasn't had a letter, we haven't had a hearing on it, is what you're saying.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
I
And,
thought there was a letter. I thought we needed a letter.
right, and they have to vote on it before they send the letter, though.
Okay, but so,
Montgomery County. And the plan here is to vote out of subcommittee, put it on the voting list tomorrow. If we get the letter before the vote, then we'll vote on it tomorrow. If not, we'll hold it.
does that make sense, Regina?
So moved.
I'm sorry, I was just confirming. So we're going to hear it tomorrow morning in delegation. So yes.
So as long as we get that letter, then
Yep.
we'll vote it out of sub now. Delegate Jacobs has already moved it. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and then the discussion, basically, we'll move it now. You'll have it tomorrow. hopefully we'll get the letter tomorrow and it'll be on the voting list. And if not, we'll vote it out next week, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of HB 434, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, bill passes. Okay, the next one is Delegate Arntz, HB 546, pedestrians Kent Island drawbridge fishing prohibition. This is the same bill that we passed last year. It's in the same exact posture, right, Patrick? As last
Correct.
year?
Move favorable.
Read the bone.
Okay, I heard a move favorable. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of HB 546, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? House Bill 546 passes. Okay. The next one we'll go to is House Bill 713. That's Delegate Lehman's vehicle laws, horse riding helmet requirements. I know that we had a good conversation last week. If Patrick has been busily preparing, I think 2 or 3, I think it's 2 amendments for our discussion. Patrick, is that correct? Is it 2 or 3?
Well, there have been 3 submitted. I took Delegate Lehman's one-word amendment and put it into the general amendment that came out of the committee discussion last week,
What was that one?
where she said public horse trails.
Okay,
Added the word public. That's in that amendment. In fact, if you all have it, Molly, do you have that up?
Molly has it up on the screen right now.
I have the one up. I'm not sure if that's the one you want to discuss because there's 2.
Well, there's the general committee one, and then there's Delegate Fraser Doggo's one.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
I just lost it.
That's
Okay.
Molly's working on it. So the first one for public, that basically opens it up. It says all trails, whether it's private or public. Does it cover everything? Or does it just cover public? What is that? What does the insertion of public signify? Just public horse trails, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the idea being that, on your private property,
Right.
do what you want.
Okay, so do we want to pull that one out and vote on that one right now, Patrick? And then we'll pick up the other 2? We'll just one at a time.
Wasn't there a question about
Okay, this should be right.
riding from one
Yeah,
place?
to and from, to and
Yeah,
from.
the to and from.
Yeah, that's
That's the second amendment.
right.
And then there's a third amendment after that. So the first amendment is public. The second.
Molly,
amendment
can you
is-
scroll down?
And the third amendment would be the one that I had asked. if
No,
we
this
may
is not the
discuss
right.
This is Delegate Fraser Hidalgo's amendment.
Yeah, can we see the other one?
Sure, one sec.
Thank you, Molly.
Other one, it's no problem. This is the other one.
And
Okay,
this,
so there's public.
There it is.
it adds in public, and this is what you were talking about here, striking out the language,
Mhm.
riding to and from the competitions and the like, the events. And then if you go down further, strikes the language talking about just negligence.
Yep.
I can't read through the strikes there.
So I had one question about this, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, yes. And thank you, Sarah, Delegate Love, for working on this for us. Thank you. Please.
Happy to, thank you. When I had spoken with Delegate Lehman, we had talked about leaving in just a fine of $50 because the subcommittee had a really good discussion about, escalating warnings and having officers carry things, and none of that made sense. But I'm seeing here that all the fines are stricken. Is that what she sent in?
No, she didn't send in an amendment on this. This was
Oh, okay.
discussion last week. I thought we kind of landed on the square of just going silent on the penalties and letting the court decide it.
Okay.
There's still a penalty. We're just not prescribing it. And
So how would that work then, Patrick? Then if a police officer was to observe this, they would write the citation, but there would be no fine associated with it. And then they would be fined from the court?
No, there'd be a fine associated with it. It would be in the penalty deposit schedules, published by the court.
Okay,
Those books that I gave, you had them when you were a police officer.
yeah, that's 25 years ago.
Wait, you were a police officer?
25 years ago, Sarah, 25 years ago. Okay, is everybody okay with that? This is the First Amendment, right, Patrick?
Yes, and it incorporates Delegate Lehman's amendment.
Okay,
So let's
so
first two.
what's that?
Let's say it's the first two.
Okay, public plus the rest of it. So is there a motion on this amendment?
I had my hand up. I don't know if you see it, Dave.
No, I don't see it. Please
It's
go
hard to
ahead.
see with the screen sharing. I'm just trying to make certain I'm straight on these amendments. So we're talking about the amendment that was 3 at 12:36 p.m. It strikes out all the fine schedule
Correct.
and 11:58 as well.
11:58. Oh, I think both of them went out.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get straight on here.
Do the later time.
That's the one I agree with, is the one from 12:36. That's why I was asking that question.
Yeah, the later time is the one you want to do.
Okay, I'm good with that. Thank you.
Okay, so to 12:36, that's the one we're moving.
Move the amendments?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the amendments signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Amendments carry.
Move the bills amended, Mr. Chair.
I think we have one more amendment, right,
What?
Patrick?
Well, you have an amendment. You
Right.
about taking out the competitions altogether.
So the bill, as it is, sits currently as it came to us and as it sits with the previous amendment, we discussed last week, it exempts riding competitions. So basically it says you got to wear a helmet all the time, except when you're in a competition, in which case you don't have to wear a helmet. I think that's a really big mistake, as I mentioned last week, because that's probably when the horse and the rider are stressed the most, and there's probably a higher probability of an accident. So I had an amendment. Not everybody, we didn't get into a big discussion about it last week, but just in case, I asked Patrick to draft an amendment that basically says that if you are in a competition, you still must wear a helmet. It's like a race car driver. They can go out and race their car all day long and wear a helmet, but on race day, that's probably the day you really should wear your helmet. So that's why I had that piece drafted.
I got a question.
Yes, sir, Delegate Jacobs.
Now, when you say wearing a helmet in competition, are you talking about like the guys that ride these competition bulls and horses also, or are you just talking about these the young people that's in this bill?
It's the young people in the bill. It's the juveniles, right, Patrick? Is it 16 and under or 17 and under? 17 and
18. Under 18.
under
So-
18. So all the
this-
minors.
So this doesn't pertain to like, I guess you call it the Skull Series or Pabst Blue Ribbon, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. The competitive horse and bull riding
As long as they are
over 18. If
as
they're
long
over
as they're
18.
If they're minors, it applies to them, period.
Okay.
If they're not,
All
it
right.
does not.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And while I share your concern, I share your concern, and I would never let my kids ride without a helmet. We only ride English. We don't ride Western, nor did I ever compete in Western. And I am very uncomfortable with this amendment, not having heard any testimony about what it would encompass and what we're cutting out. And I know there are shows that have, that don't have helmets. So I appreciate this, but I am not comfortable with it at all.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Delegate Foley.
Yeah, my question, Mr. Chair, is I'm confused about what is the amendment? Tell me exactly where the amendment is and what you're doing. Are you striking out on line 14, you're striking out practicing for or competing or performing in a show or event where helmets are not historically part of the show or event. Is that what we're striking?
Patrick, but yes, essentially what we're saying is that.
Because I don't think that's what's up here. So,
On the screen.
yeah, that's.
Yeah,
not
Molly,
what's-
do you have the other amendment?
This is the other amendment you sent me that you said was Dave's amendment.
Well, that doesn't do that.
That's the 1236 amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that doesn't do that.
these were both, okay, let me double check. Let's see.
Maybe I sent Molly the wrong thing. Hold on a second here.
Mr.
But
Chair,
Molly,
could I-
the one you had up-
To answer your question, Delegate
Right.
Floyd, the intent is to not only require juveniles to wear helmets while on public riding trails, but also to and from an event, and also at the event, if they're juvenile.
Right,
That's the intent.
right. I just want to see what what,
Gotcha.
I just didn't see the language there. That's why I didn't see
No,
the
and
amendment. Yeah.
it's good.
Okay,
Delegate
thanks.
Lehman.
Yeah, that's what you sent me, Patrick, so I'm not sure.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Delegate Learman.
could we potentially ask the?
Molly,
any
do you
sort
have
of-
the,
Sorry. Could
My
we
apologies.
ask the, anybody who might be impacted or have additional information on Western Riding to come and speak to our subcommittee?
We could. I'm struggling with trying to figure out, I mean, if they're over 18, they don't have to wear a helmet. If they're under 18, I mean, if they're juvenile, they have to wear a helmet. So I don't know.
I'm just curious if this will, I just don't know this world. And so I'm curious if this, I mean, I agree that they should wear a helmet and I don't have, but I am also wondering if this would mean that competitions that exist in Maryland right now would not happen anymore and would just move to Virginia or just move to Delaware because they don't have this law. I just don't know. So it'd be helpful to have some information about that.
Okay.
I just,
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I am of the opinion, and maybe this sounds harsh, but I don't care. You're talking about 14, 15, and 16 and 17-year-olds. And so if they want to move to Virginia, like I don't want it to be on me that somebody has a tradition of wearing a cowboy hat and roping steers or whatever they do. And a 16-year-old doesn't have to wear a helmet. Like they're 16, they're 15. So,
But Mr. Chair, respectfully, we don't know, I mean, I think to the Delegate Limit, we don't know enough about that industry to know what they do and why they do or don't do it. So I would hate to do this.
okay.
And then, I mean, look, if there's something right now that says that like under 18-year-old rodeo riders are 20 times likely to have head injuries or something like that. But I think to her point, we have not heard from anyone and this to the point, I mean, people ride horses differently or compete differently on horses. So I would hate to set something beyond, I think, the purpose of this bill, which was that kids who are under 18 on trails, public trails, should be wearing a helmet. I think to me, that's the scope of the bill.
So why don't we'll just let my amendment go, because I don't want to I want to get the bill out. I don't want to hold the bill up for policy purposes. And I think it is a very good step in the right direction. I'm not going to push it. I just have a particular view about bicycles and all of that.
I have a question if I could.
Yes, Delegate. Delegate.
I just wanted to ask if, well, I know we had a lot of testimony on this bill. I don't think anyone from that community, that Western community, was signed up to vote to testify on this bill at all. Do they, I'm not even sure that they have an organization or that there's anybody out in Maryland that even cares about this kind of thing from that group. We just don't know. I don't even know if there is such a group
That's
to
fine.
reach out to.
Yeah, either do I. We just won't present the amendment. Let's just go with the original bill and the amendment that we already passed, and we'll let it go. I mean, I'm not going to fight everybody. I'm actually not. I support what you want to do. I'm just saying that they didn't come forward to testify on the bill at all. Maybe they don't exist in Maryland. Yeah,
don't
maybe they
know.
don't. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. Like it's fine. It's just.
Well, I support your amendment if you want to do it. That's just saying.
Thank you, Delegate Healy. Thank you. On the bill as amended, is there a motion to move the bill as amended without
Move the bill.
my amendment? Okay.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Wonderful. HB 713 passes. And I will talk with Delegate Lehman. She can work on that piece if she wants to work in the Senate, or if she's got somebody in the Senate that can work on it. All right. Next bill is HB 696. That's my bill, the Public Utilities School Bus Pilot Program. We voted this bill out of committee last year. It went over to the Senate last year. It came out, it was mutually heard in the Senate, and it was mutually heard in ECM and ENT, ECM being the primary. They voted it out a couple of days ago. It is before us now. We're secondary. So I'm
Move the
happy.
amendment.
What's that?
Move the amendment that we're looking at.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, on the bill as amended.
Move the bill.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? On the bill as amended, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. House Bill 696 passes. Patrick, we are doing record time.
Yeah,
We got-
who's gonna guess this?
We got through all of the priorities. So the ones that we thought would be the least, they'll take the least time. So let's go on to Delegate Healy's bill, the first one, House Bill 63.
Okay.
Vehicle laws, parking enforcement. I know Delegate Healy, you've been working on some amendments, and I know Patrick
Yes.
is working with Delegate Healy. Where are we?
Okay, this is what, as you may remember, this bill is about stolen license plates that have been reported, and then they show up on another car and somebody gets a parking ticket. They're not liable at all. It's just, just a magnificent mistake. So the bill originally just said that whoever was writing the ticket had to match the plate to the car. Found out that your regular meter readers don't have access to the MVA database. So I suggested to Patrick that we change it so that on the ticket itself, there's a checkoff where you could just check off and say that this license plate is not connected to this vehicle. And then the person who is a victim doesn't have to go to court to protect themselves. And MVA or the enforcement people can easily check it because they have access to the MVA database. And so Patrick worked on it and came up with a nice amendment, and that's what's before us. And if you want to know more about the actual wording of the amendment, I would defer to Patrick.
Patrick, are there any unintended stolen plates, stolen tags that we need to worry about if we do it this way, or are we good? Was there anybody from MDA or anybody kick it back with concern?
Well, y'all, first of all, y'all should have copies of that. If not, Molly, I believe, has it up there.
Molly has it up on the screen.
And just to make it easier reading for you, the amendment strikes the bill. And it's all new language at the end. That is what is the amendment after striking the bill. And the point here is that if you get, this probably doesn't happen a whole lot, but I think Delegate Healy's point is that if you get a citation, in this case, obviously you didn't do anything wrong. Somebody stole your plates and is using them, and the meter maid doesn't know. They just write the ticket on the card. And then you get the tickets, and then you're entering into a myriad of bureaucracy.
Right.
It's
You're
impossible.
victimized multiple times.
And some people may get multiple tickets too. So this is designed to be kind of an off-ramp for that. it gives us a check off where you can check off and say, the plates don't match the vehicle and the registration. Then in theory, and like I said, I don't think this would happen that much. In theory, the agency would, check it out with MVA and then dismiss the ticket presumably if, they do not match. And then there's also a prohibition against sending it in if they do match. So there's, a little bit of a, something to keep everybody from sending them in, just marking them off and sending them in.
So just for kind of a continuation of how this would work, a meter reader would write the ticket. The ticket would eventually work its way to the MVA, and the MVA would compare and make sure that the tags are issued to the right vehicle, because the meter reader is going to say it's a 2017 Toyota Camry, red in color, and the tag number will be like MD7762 or something like that. They will cross-reference it and make sure it's okay. If it's okay, everything goes forward. If it's not okay, then and they don't match, then the ticket would automatically be disqualified. Is that how the process would work, Patrick?
That's the idea. But then if it does match, and the person checked the box, fraudulently or maliciously, then they would be subject to a citation.
But who would check the box? The person that received the ticket?
Yes. Yes, the person who received the ticket, it's instead of signing it and saying, I want my day in court, they would say, this isn't my car, this is,
Okay.
and they send it in, and then they don't have to go to court if it's just a mistake
Delegate
or
Love.
it's a stolen vehicle.
Thank you. Patrick started to answer my question. I appreciate the number 3 because that's where I was going. So if somebody fraudulently checks that box, you said they'd get a citation?
It would be subject to a citation, yes.
Okay, and that means what?
Citation for violating this section, and the penalty would be whatever set by the court.
Okay.
Maximum dollars.
Thank you.
You'd be lying. Delegate Parrott.
Thank you. I just had a question about when people get a ticket, do they necessarily put down what the make and model of the car is? Are we requiring something that they don't do currently? Or is this something they already do and it's going to be very, very easy to implement?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, it's a good question, and we are actually running this amendment by the chiefs and sheriffs. They would probably have an answer to that.
I believe, not that I would know, but I believe it's something they already put on there. Just saying.
I would think so too, but I think Delegate Parrott has a good point. We should, we can't move the bill today. We have to wait for that one piece or two pieces to come back, but it's good to get all the discussion done so that when we're ready, because next week we'll probably meet maybe twice. So that way we'll be able to jam it out. Delegate Boyce.
All right, so I'm a little confused. I've stolen somebody's plates. I happen to be pulled over because I have a taillight out or whatever.
It's a meter reader.
This is more parking. This is a parking ticket.
Yeah, these are only parking tickets.
Just for
Okay.
parking. It's the meter reader.
It's not about people being pulled over at all.
Okay, but I think I still have a question.
Mhm.
The car's parked. The meter person checks, and depending on the resources that they have, they see that, UHG 666 belongs to a green Toyota, and I'm looking at a red Mazda.
Well, that's the bill. The bill is broken, and we're on the amendments, which you should have an email, Molly, but are also on the screen.
Can I finish, please?
Yes, please. Go ahead, Regina.
The point I'm making is that right there on the spot, it could be determined I guess what I'm trying to say, if it's in fact stolen, then I'm just going to get a citation for stealing someone's license, someone's plates, and that's it. Like, I guess
The confusion here
I'm
is
confused.
it isn't so much the issue because we're talking about meter readers, right? So the meter readers don't know whether it's stolen or not. They're just writing the ticket and walking away. So they write the ticket, they leave it on the car, and they walk off. They don't have the resources available to them to determine whether those tags are stolen or not.
True, but I'm thinking about license plate readers, which I know we do have in Baltimore City.
Yes.
And I'm not 100% savvy on the technology. It reads the plates. But is there additional information beyond reading the plates? Sarah?
Having worked on this, on automatic license plate readers, they're used for very different things than parking tickets. So they wouldn't apply here.
They're used more for traffic enforcement, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, okay, I digress, never mind.
No, I mean, these are good
no.
questions. And so I think they're, April, you look like you just popped on, so you got something to say, please.
I thought I would just offer a little bit of clarification. It is a little confusing, and I know where this bill stemmed from. There's been some constituent issues with, so an individual receives a parking ticket. They know it's not their car, their plates have been reported stolen, but they still have to take off work, find childcare to go to court and say, look, my car was stolen, here's the paperwork, please take this off and remove it. This is trying to just offer the ability for someone to check that box and send it in, and then the jurisdiction and the MVA be able to talk to each other and say, okay, she's right or he's right, we can remove this ticket, this car was stolen. That's the
tag.
Yeah, that's exactly through the tag. So that's the intent of it. I hope it offered some sort of clarification, but I know that that's where part of the issue came from.
So April, given the way we are amending the bill, does it work?
I haven't looked at the amendment to be able to say 100% or not, don't put me in a corner now.
Well, why don't we do this?
I do like where if a person checks the box and it is not correct, that they are going to receive a citation. I do like that. I do like where it does offer the ability to be able not to go to court. That does solve some constituent issues, but I do also believe that you should check the resources of what the parking agent has in front of them to be able to cross-reference. So I agree with all of those.
So can we do this? We're not in a position to move the bill because we're still waiting for some information. In the meantime, can you digest the current amendment based on the intent of the bill sponsor? And I think you've picked up most of the intent of the subcommittee where the concerns are.
Yes.
See if you have those concerns, see if you're okay with the direction we're going and any clarification. And then we'll come back next week and rediscuss. And if everybody's good, then we'll vote on the bill.
Absolutely.
April,
For anybody
that to you.
Okay, thank you, Patrick.
And April, thank you. So my next question, before you leave, April, leave, does anybody else have any questions or homework for April? Yes, Delegate Healy.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that Delegate Boyce has had her questions asked, answered, heard, responded to.
That's why I asked.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. That's why I asked if anybody else has any more. Sorry, April, to volunteer you for this homework.
No, it's okay.
That's why I asked if anybody else is unclear or anybody else has any homework for you. So you're good, right, Regina? Okay. All right. So I think we're good and we can vote this up next week. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Delegate David.
Yes.
You might want to mention that we're going to try to meet on Tuesday.
Yeah, I said twice, but we're going to try to meet on Tuesday. We have these bills, plus there's a couple of these bills that are here on our voting list for today. So there are a couple of those stragglers that didn't get out today, and then we have a couple that just didn't make it on today because we just ran out of room and we knew we weren't going to get them all done. So next week is going to be a big week. And the week after, as we go into crossover, it's just going to be, a lot of work. We get, for those that don't know, I mean, all the people that have been here for a while know we get between 90 and about 105 bills that come into the subcommittee. So we are one of the busiest subcommittees down here. And so kind of toward the end, as we get toward crossover, it can get pretty hectic. So strap in. Well, we'll try to meet Tuesday. Keep an eye open for emails from Molly, and at the same time, I'll make announcements as we get closer, and we'll get you agenda items. The bills that are on this agenda will be on the agenda for Tuesday, as well as probably another 4 or 5 will probably be added, and then we'll have another one Thursday, and then the following week as well. Questions for the wonderful subcommittee? Thank you all so very, very much.